Hey everyone, Jedi64 here. Welcome back to another video, and today we are reviewing a new Star Wars series, baby. The first two episodes of Star Wars Skeleton Crew came out a while ago. I recently just watched the first two episodes, and I am already loving it. I have to say, when I first heard about the concept of this show, I was a little 50-50, but honestly, after seeing the trailers and, the first two episodes, I have to say, this series is amazing. I hear it has great reviews, and, fan reception has been really good, so I'm really excited to see where the story goes. I have to say, I love the opening of the first episode with the pirates raiding the shipment of stuff, hoping to find some loot, only for them to become empty-handed. I love because I'm pretty sure the guy the main captain in that scene is Jude Law's character. I feel like that's pretty obvious, but if it's not, then that'll be a surprise. Yeah, I have to say I love the pirates in this series. It feels very Pirates of the Caribbean, and I love that. Because having a pirate Star Wars series is something I've always wanted, so this show is just checking off all the boxes. Another thing that I love about it that I was not expecting was the kid actors. I have to say, they're all really wholesome and I enjoy watching them. And I hear that the actors on set had so much fun hanging around with the kids, so that was so much fun. I hear Jude Law's character, I think it's dang it, what's his name again? I don't know. But I hear he had a lot of fun. I can't talk. Recording with the kids. So that was cool. I love the planet that the kids are from. Their planet's name is hard to pronounce, but I love it because I remember at first I was a little iffy because it looks a little too much like Earth. But as you're watching the first episode, it becomes less of a problem as you kind of get invested into the story. And I have to say, it feels very Star Warsy, the planet, which is surprising since it looks so much like Earth, but I love it. And what's really cool about it is that, I don't think, this planet has been cut off from the rest of the galaxy, because, they're saying they're serving the Republic, but it's not the New Republic, so when the kids get past the barrier, the droids are you're not allowed, no one is allowed to enter or leave the planet, which is confusing because it's wait a minute, so this planet has just been thriving on its own? Because I don't think they know about the fall of the Republic and the rise of the Empire and all of that and the New Republic. So I think they've just been cut off from the rest of the galaxy and because the rest of the galaxy thinks their planet is a treasure planet type of planet. You ever heard of that movie? Has a vibe to it. So I'm really interested to see more about that because when the kid hands the pirate guy the credits, they're like, "Wait a minute, where'd you get an Old Republic credit?" And I think that's just been their currency on their planet for years now. And they haven't adjusted because they've just been cut off from the rest of the galaxy. I have to say, I absolutely love the droid. The pirate droid is all because we're also pirates. He's just really fun. I wish I knew who he was voiced by, but I love the action scene in the second episode where he's get away from my captain and battles the pirates. That was really cool. That whole pirate spaceport is really cool. Yeah. Another thing that I love about this series is that there's aliens, in the previous Star Wars series, I feel like there's just been too many humans. So I love that they're bringing back lots of aliens into the series, which I just love. I love that. I love the ending of the first episode when the kids get pulled into space and they're like, "Whoa, we're in space!" and their hyperdrive just activates and they're all freaking out, and then the episode ends with the ship just jumping into hyperspace. That was cool. I also love this wolf guy because he's basically the new villain of the series. He's basically the same wolf species as we see in A New Hope and the cantina on Mos Eisley. So it's really cool to see his species again. Because I'm really glad this series has a cool villain. That makes me really happy. I feel like they did a great job with him. With the practical effects, the CGI. He looks great. I just love it. Yeah. I'm really excited to see how things turn out because like as we see in the trailers, there's like X-wings and stuff. So like because like the kids don't know anything about this galaxy. Like they don't know anything about the New Republic. Like they don't know anything about Luke Skywalker or anything like they don't know anything about the fall of the Jedi or anything like that. So they don't know anything about like they literally are going into this galaxy like unknown. So that's really cool. Yeah. I'm really hoping we see Hondo or Naka, like Hondo or Naka or Maz Kanata. Like I feel like Maz Kanata is more likely than Hondo, but my fingers are crossed for Hondo 'cause he's like my favorite. Yeah. I'm another cameo that feels like a long shot, but like I feel like Luke Skywalker would be a great fit for this series just cuz like Wim wants to become a Jedi, so like I feel like Luke could train him. He'd be like the first Padawan of like Luke's new Jedi Order. Like that would be really cool to see in like a spin-off series or something. Yeah. All in all, if I had to rate this like the first two episodes, I have to give it like an 8 out of 10 because like honestly no, I'd give both episodes like a 10 out of 10. Like they're really good. If you have not seen this series, I strongly advise you check it out cuz so far it is really good. Anyway, that's all for now. So be sure to like and subscribe and I will see you all in the third episode. Until then, may the force be with you and have a good one. Bye. Hey everyone, Jedi64, and welcome back to episode 3 of Star Wars Skeleton Crew. I recently just watched the new episode, and I'm here to review it. So, let's begin. So, the episode begins with the kids escaping the brig, or wait, no. The episode actually begins with the parents on at Aden worrying about their kids, wondering where they are. We then see the security droid come in, basically saying that the kids have illegally exited the planet and there's nothing they can do. They are not allowed to contact the Republic for help. And they say Republic, which means they think it's just the old Republic. They don't know about the wars, they don't know about the history that has happened since they've been cut off for years. Anyway, after that scene, we then cut to the kids escaping. You find out that the guy's name is Jod, and he was the pirate leader at the beginning of the series wearing the helmet. Since he was such a bad pirate, he was mutinied and thrown in the brig. However, he can use the Force, and now that the kids have arrived and he has a ship and can actually leave now, he uses the Force to grab the key, escapes the brig with the kids. They get to the ship. The girl is very hesitant about him, thinking that, yeah, no, he's not a Jedi. So it's like, yeah, let's leave without him. Anyway, Jod, in a moment to try to get the kids to trust him, to make him think that he's a Jedi, and because he seems like the kind of person who's cocky. So he like goes back into the port, is back to the brig, and gets SM-33 back. After a quick scene, he gets back on board the ship. They try to escape, however, they're attached to a fuel line. So they're flying, they're spinning around, they're dragging all these other ships with them. They start crashing into one another, resulting in a chain reaction. It's like a really cool action scene, like very creative. Then they jump to hyperspace. The fuel line gets whipped back and just absolutely destroys the port. Stuff is crashing down, things are exploding. And Captain Bruce I think that's his name, is like, put a bounty on their head. I want him groveling at my knees along with those runs. So now they have a bounty on them, which is very exciting because it means we could see a bunch of cool new bounty hunters. Anyway, after they escape, they head to a moon where they meet up with Jod's friend, who I forget what her name is, but she's kind of like this owl creature. She's like a really cool character in my opinion. Like I love her new species. Like I think it's just really cool. So anyway, she contacts the New Republic saying that they're going to arrest Jack or cause like Jod or bleh, his name is complicated to remember. Anyway, so she stalls for time, but while she does so, she helps the kids find their planet. She basically explains that during the Old Republic, during some wars, many planets hid themselves away, basically erasing themselves from the galaxy. Most of them were destroyed, all except at Aden, which is believed to hold a mystical treasure, which I think the kids have figured out that the treasure is their currency, since the currency is like super valuable in this galaxy, which means if pirates were to find their planet, it would be pillaged and plundered for all their credits. Anyway, using the kids' knowledge of the planet and a symbol on one of the kids' backpack, they figure out the coordinates that Aden. However, I don't think it's either not the coordinates or they're going to have to make a pit stop because their ship is damaged. So I don't think they'll get to Aden in the next episode. In fact, in the next episode, I think the parents are going to try to meet up with the supervisor on their planet, who I don't know who or what that is. Because, like, something's going on that planet. Like, the droids on that planet look evil as hell. Like, something, like some conspiracy is going on. Anyway, Jod figures out that she's stalling and they get into a fight. The kids have enough and force Jod to reveal the truth that he is not a Jedi, he just is alone like them, trying to get a fresh start. He makes a deal with them, he'll work for them, maybe get a reward on the way there, and they begin to flee from the X-Wings that have arrived. The X-Wings are really cool because, like, they look a mix, like, they're new. Like, they feel sleeker somehow. Like, they feel fresh off the assembly line, and if you look very closely, you can tell that there's, like, some differences. Like, these feel like the engines on the back look like Resistance X-Wing engines, and, like, this feels like we're finally starting to see the transition from, like, Rebellion X-Wings to, like, New Republic X-Wings, and I just love it. The kids get inside the cannon to try to stall them from catching them, because they don't know that the New Republic is just trying to help them. So, like, Wim is, like, all excited getting into the turret, and, like, it's just, like, super cute, being like, oh, hell yeah, I get to shoot stuff. So that was really fun. Like, the whole chase scene and action scene was, like, really well done. Because, yeah, if you look here, the X-Wing feels sleeker, and, like, the engines on the back look like New Republic engines, and, like, we see, like, on the bottom, it looks like stun cannons, and then on the top, it's just the regular cannons. So it's really cool seeing, like, the transition from Rebellion X-Wing to Republic X-Wing. It's just really cool, in my opinion. The kids managed to jump to hyperspace. The X-Wings land, basically explain that they couldn't shoot them down, being it too dangerous with the kids on board. Which means now the New Republic is after Jod and the kids, along with the pirates who are looking for Aden as well. The episode ends as they jump to hyperspace, and my theories for the next episode are I think they're either going to end up crash landing on a planet because their life support systems are offline. Because, you know, the pirate droid is like, we can't take off now, the life support systems are all disassembled. But they leave anyway, so either the coordinates are going to be wrong, or they're going to have to land and make repairs. And on at Aden, I think the parents are going to start uncovering the mystery and the conspiracy that's going on their planet. So yeah, I'm very excited to see what episode 4 will bring. If I had to rate this episode, I would say I would give this episode a 10 out of 10, honestly. So far, I've been loving this series. Like, it feels new, it feels fresh, it doesn't feel connected to, like, a bunch of other stuff. Like, it feels like its own thing, which I really like. So yeah, I'm absolutely in love with this series. If you have not seen this series yet, I would strongly advise you give it a chance. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all in episode 4. May the force be with you, and see you until then, baby. Open water. Open water? Really? Bye. Hey everyone, Jedi64 here, and welcome to episode 4 of Star Wars Skeleton Crew. In the last episode, our heroes managed to get the coordinates to Aden and escape the New Republic, and jump to hyperspace. However, at the start of this episode, they come out of hyperspace, and we see what appears to be at Aden, but it's not. We see the nebula gases that Kim talked about, which makes me think that this planet is in the same star system as at Aden. It's just at Aden is so well hidden from the others that it was never destroyed and never found. They pass what appears to be a bunch of satellites surrounding the planet, which I think is supposed to be like the barrier, I think. but I'm not really sure. They land on the planet and everything's destroyed. Everything's gone, and this is not at Aden. It looks exactly like at Aden, but it's not. It's basically an apocalyptic version of it. The kids separate from Jod and the droid, and they head to an old abandoned structure that appears to be been destroyed. They walk around a bit and find a statue. Now, this could be the supervisor or some other character, or it could just be a random statue, but I'm not entirely sure. But I feel like there might be some significance to this, but I'm not entirely sure right now. Anyway, they get discovered by the locals who are still alive. They're basically part of the Troik. They're like a tribe just trying to survive. It's like I said, this is like a Mad Max apocalyptic planet now. They take the kids to their leader and they basically are like, hey, listen, we'll take you to the ancient shrine that might have coordinates to your planet if you agree to fight with us. The kids, with being like too naive and not really understanding the significance, end up getting dragged into this war. Anyway, we see what appeared to be the enemy, and this looks like an old separatist tank, but I don't think it is, just because like it doesn't look like a separatist tank. Like it has like some design elements that look like it, but it's not. And I have to say, I don't think these like two factions really are that big of a deal. Like I don't think like it's like the most significant thing. So like it's not like we need to know a lot about them, but I kind of wish we got a little bit more in this episode about like, hey, what happened to this planet? This planet, how is it destroyed? Why are there two separate factions fighting? Why aren't they working together to survive? And like, I kind of wish they explored more of this war a little bit better in this episode. Jod and SM33. Jod like SM33's memory banks keep malfunctioning, and he basically realizes that they're on at Akrim, a planet that is in the same star system as at Aden, but it's not at Aden, and it is extremely dangerous. Jod walks okay. Yeah, it's hard to remember what the droid's name is. Just the pirate droid out of the ship, where he's trying to jog his memory to find out where the treasure is. Only they get surrounded by the enemy, and Jod is like, you know what? Just shoot me. And it's like the funniest part of the whole episode. I just love it. Neil and the warrior teenager begin to become friends. Like she warms up to Neil with his like kindness and stuff. Like he's not like battle hardened. He's just a kid, and he like basically compares his planet to this one, being how it's like, yeah, our planet is nothing like this one. It's way more peaceful, and I really liked it. I feel like Neil got some character development. Like he kind of was a bit of a spotlight character in this episode, so I liked that. Anyway, the kids get drawn out into the battlefield, and they're all scared because they're just kids. So anyway, they're like not wanting to fight, but then these warriors are just pointing their guns at them, being like, "Get out there!" So yeah, Jod buys the herd that one evil tribe stole from them, and he's able to get the kids back. And Firm is kind of like, "Thanks, Jod," and like I feel like she's starting to warm up to him a little bit. So after that, they then head to the Fallen Sanctum, which is basically the communication tower, which is exactly like the one on their planet. However, on their planet, no one is allowed to go up there, which makes me think that whoever this supervisor is not exactly a good guy. Anyway, they look for the coordinates at Aden. There's a bunch of pillars surrounding the area. However, all of the coordinates are intact except for the one that leads to their home planet. We then find out that the pirate droid was here before with his old captain, and he was ordered to destroy the coordinates. Firm gets upset and like begins to break down a little bit because again they're just kids. Like I really like how they kind of just dived into that, being like, yeah, no, they're just kids at this point, and they're like just trying to get home. Of course, Wim is trying to comfort her, but she's like, I'm not a droid. I just don't do what I'm told. And then she walks off. Then she realizes that SM-33's old master most likely ordered him to not remember at Aden. So she orders him to remember, and he remembers everything. And what he says is his old captain killed any of his crew who saw the coordinates and ordered him to destroy them. And then he told him that if anyone ever came poking around for the treasure, he was supposed to pull them apart limb by limb. So then he goes like full evil mode and just tries to kill the kids because like he's been malfunctioning and like his voice changes. He just keeps repeating the whole pull them apart. Like it goes full horror mode for a second, and I love it. Before he can kill the kids, however, Neil throws a rock at his head and he goes after him, but Jod pulls the off switch, turning him off. And the episode ends with Neil just fainting. So yeah, a lot happened this episode. I think in episode 5, they'll most likely take the coordinates that are on all the other pillars and just kind of search around these other systems in like maybe like a montage sequence trying to find the coordinates that add in. We'll probably go back with the parents for a bit, see what's going on there, because I'm pretty sure, because like all the droids on the planet have like security cameras as heads, so like I think they're going to be under surveillance by whoever this supervisor is. And I think we'll most likely see the pirates in the next episode, just because we haven't seen them in a minute. So this episode was definitely the weakest, I think, of the whole series so far. It's not a bad episode, like it's good, but it's not as good as let's say the other ones. So I'm really looking forward to episode 5. We're officially halfway through the series. So I have to say I'm really enjoying Skeleton Crew. It is really underrated. Anyway, I hope to see you guys in episode 5, and I hope you guys are enjoying the series so far, and may the force be with you, and I'll see you in the next episode. Hey everyone, Jedi64 here, and welcome to episode 5 of Star Wars Skeleton Crew. Today we are going to be reviewing the episode, and I have to say, this is probably my favorite episode of the season so far. A lot of stuff happened in it, like I feel like there was just a lot of emotion in this episode, and like the humor in this episode was just fantastic. So, let us begin. So we open on at Aden, where we see the parents are trying to contact the Republic for help, but the supervisor is not helping them. And I have a theory, but I think SM-33's old captain is the supervisor. So that's my theory. So Neil's mom gives Wim's dad a device that'll help them steal an access code to be able to make a transition out of the planet. However, he gets caught, and thankfully, Firm's mom is able to prevent anyone from finding out about it. She's trying to do this through legal means, but that's not getting anywhere. So now they're going to have to force to make some tricky decisions. We then cut to the kids Jod and SM-33, who is now fixed. His programming has been put back together, where it's revealed that he is the captain of Captain Renid. At least I think that's his name. Who was a very well-known pirate over the years. He was looking for Aden. Jod explains that he was the best pirate who ever lived. That has to be the best pirate I've ever seen. But anyway, so SM-33 explains that if they head to Skull Ridge, his fortress in the bottom of the mountain should have the coordinates. So they head there. On the way there, SM-33 tells some stories about how they crash landed on Aden, and that explains how the ship was buried underground. But did the captain survive, or was it just his crew that died? I don't think the captain died. So we see Wim starting to have a hard time. He begins to break down, missing his father, and like this isn't the adventure he was expecting. So Jod kind of just comes to him and say, "Hey, you just gotta take all those attachments and just get rid of them, man." Which makes me think he was a Jedi at some point, because that feels like a very Jedi thing to say. but also a little Sith, because like it's kind of like you don't want to just throw all of that away. He uses the Force, and Wim asks, "Wait a minute, if you're not a Jedi, how can you do that?" But he walks away before he can get an answer. They then come to La Lupa. That's what the planet's called, and we see that it has been turned into a resort. And I love SM33. He's like, "This is Skull Mountain? They ruined it." So yeah, they walk around a bit. They see a little. They go in like some disguises, but they basically, using the old Republic credits, bribe them into coming in. We find out that the banking clan is here, which is a big deal because it means that the New Republic has rebuilt the banking clan into what it once was. We see a bunch of guards around, so they have to be careful. As they're checking into the hotel, Jod runs into a bounty hunter friend ish, who, believe it or not, I'm pretty sure is the person who voices that one princess in that one Pixar movie. I think it's called Brave or something. Anyway, she basically is like casually threatening him and the kids, being like, "Hey kids, don't trust this Slimo," and walks away. They begin to look for the hidden fortress underneath the springs. They sneak around. They run into like a giant like whale squid thing that helps them out. They get into a John and the kids get into a chase scene with the guards, and it's revealed that he has a lot of different fake names. So he has been around over the years. They make it to a pool of acid where they then have to make the greatest sacrifice, which for a pirate is treasure. They toss in an old Republic credit and they head inside the fortress. There's a bunch of booby traps, they avoid them, and then they finally find the coordinates at Aden. Jod and SM33 play an old message from Captain. Dang, I forget his name, but the message is all distorted so we can't see his face, which is for a reason. I'm calling it now. He's going to be the supervisor on Aden. That's my theory. And it's revealed that at Aden is the last Republic mint, which is basically where they make money, which means at Aden really is the planet of eternal treasure, which means there's infinite treasure and resources on that planet. Anyway, Jod then finally, they've been like building up his betrayal for the whole season now, invokes the code to battle to the death. So he basically is saying, "Yield, come on, man, yield." So she eventually yields, since you kind of do that in that situation. But then Wim pulls out a lightsaber, which I have to say, seeing him look at the lightsaber and like the music was just it was just so good. I just loved it. He pulls out the lightsaber and Jod is like, "Careful, Wim, this is one of your stories." And then he's holding it upside down, so he nearly cuts his foot off, and it goes flying to the other side of the room. So poor Wim, he's like trying so hard, and so he runs back to the other kids, and Firm is Firm surrenders, and Jod becomes the new captain, forcing SM33 to cooperate with all of his orders. So, in order to prevent them from being taken prisoner, Wim presses a booby trap and they fall into a chasm. They're definitely not dead. That'd be way too dark for a kid's show. So anyway, Jod uses the Force and grabs the lightsaber, and the episode ends with him turning it on. I have to say, I do not think Jod is going to get a redemption arc. I think he's just one of the main villains of the series. You know? Like, he just feels like too much of a corrupted individual to be redeemed. Because, like, he didn't even mourn the kids. Like, he thought they died falling in that chasm, and he didn't care. He just grabbed the lightsaber. Oh, yeah. Oh, and the pirates also were notified, and they also are on their tail. So the pirates are at the resort. And in the next episode, it was spoiled in the trailer, but X-Wings are going to come and help them, which makes me think that one owl lady will show up again. So yeah, I have to say this episode is a solid 10 out of 10. This episode was really good. Again, if you have not seen Skeleton Crew, I strongly advise you give it a watch. This series is honestly amazing. Anyway, with that said, be sure to like and subscribe. May the force be with you, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye. Hey everyone, Jedi64 here. Welcome back to another video, and today we are reviewing episode 6 of Star Wars Skeleton Crew. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, the episode begins right where the last one ended, where we see the kids falling down the tube systems that they fell into, and they get launched out and land in the snow at the bottom of the mountain. Now, KB is injured because apparently the steam has corroded her systems, so she needs repairs, because I like this episode because it's a great standout KB episode, but I'll get more into it later, but they reboot her system, so she's okay for now. Anyway, we see Jod come out of the sewer systems, where we see him covered in treasure, just laughing. And this is what I mean. He is just a villain, man. He never cared about the kids. He does not care. He's just a bad guy now, which I love it. Anyway, the pirates capture him. They ambush him. They disable SM-33. So poor Jod gets captured again. So anyway, the X-Wings show up, like, I think the resort called the cops on the pirates. So they come, they chase the pirates away. And the kids are like, no, come back. Because they finally realize that Kim was the good guy and the X-Wings were the good guy. And I love Wim. He's like, why am I always wrong about who is the good guy? So anyway, they chase the pirates off. They leave the kids behind because they weren't there for the kids. They were just chasing the pirates away. Anyway, KB says she has the coordinates at Aden inside of her memory banks, which means all they have to do is get to their ship and they can finally go home. However, in order to get to it, they have to climb up a mountain, and KB is in no condition to climb a mountain, and Neil isn't good at climbing anyway, so she and Firm get into a fight, because, like, KB is afraid to talk to Firm about this, afraid that if she shows any weakness, they won't be friends anymore. Wim and Firm get into another fight, disagreeing about stuff, because Wim wants to follow the crabs that can talk, or that are basically saying, hey, follow us. And Wim's like, hey, they're locals. They can take us to someone who can help them. So they disagree, and KB decides to go with Wim. So they split up. Neil goes with Fern to climb the mountain, and KB and Wim go their separate ways. We cut back to the pirates, who have decided to execute Jod for his failures and stuff. Well, being a bad pirate. However, per the pirate's code, he gets one last testimony, where he gives a speech and rallies the pirates to come with him to Aden and find the treasure. So the wolf guy, or Wolfie, decides to go with him, but if there's no treasure, you're going for a ride. And basically shoves him into the airlock, showing him his fate if there's no treasure. I love it. So anyway, we cut back to Wim and KB, where we see them walking through the garbage area, where we see all the trash on the planet just being dumped. And we see them following the crabs, and, like, the crabs keep saying, hey, follow us, not suspicious at all. Wim finds an old droid head with an eye missing, and he wonders if SM-33 is okay. Which makes me think that, like, he does still like SM-33, because he probably understands that, like, it was nothing personal, it's just his programming, it's just how he is. We cut back to Firm and... dang it, what's his name again? Anyway, Neil... oh, yeah, Neil. Neil basically sums up to Firm what KB was trying to tell her, that not everyone can do what you can, because he's struggling to climb. So then we cut back to KB, who starts literally dying. No joke, she starts dying. It's honestly kind of funny to think about, but anyway. So they need to replace one of her parts, so Wim pulls it out and replaces it. She creates a mold for it in the sand using the old one. Wim melts down he melts down some old wires and basically puts it into the mold, and then is able to put it back into her. She gets kind of like a fake out death, and Wim, like, freaks out, but then she's fine, and she gets back up being like, hey, thanks for saving my life, Jedi, and then, like, walks away. And it's just a very wholesome moment, and I just love it. Fantastic. We then cut back to Firm and Neil, who are still climbing, and we see that, they, they see their ship is being taken away by the garbage crew, so they have to hurry. And she was also very creative. She put like a rope around Neil to help him climb better. Anyway, they find where the crabs were taking them, only to find the big mama crab. So they were just leading them to food. So whoopsie. Why am I always wrong about who the good guy is? Anyway, interesting fact, this crab is actually stop motion. It looks like CGI, but it is actually stop motion. It's incredible. So anyway, their ship is being taken away by the garbage crew, so they jump onto one of the droid things it looks like the droid carriers from the Bad Batch. It looks cool. Anyway, they get on board, they fly, they hack into one of the droids, pilot the ship over to them. They get on board the ship, however, the crab tosses a big chunk of debris at them, so they end up crashing. They're all okay though, and they all make up and hug. I feel like everyone in this series has gotten like a bit of character development. Like every single character has had a standout moment. Like, God, this series is just so good. Anyway, however, their ship has crash landed right in the path of a big machinery that's just bringing trash into it to melt it down. So they have to scramble into their ship to get it flying again. Neil is there to pilot the ship. Firm is being the captain, ordering everyone around. Wim gets into the turret to try to shoot the thing off, and KB is working as the mechanic, trying to get the engines online. I love it because we've seen throughout the series them doing this. It's like they're just taking all the skills that they've learned and are just applying it here. Like I said, it's awesome. So they try to get out of it, but it has too much of a grip on their ship, so they have to press the demolition sequence, which was played for a joke in the second episode, but came back in this one, so that was awesome. They blow the hull, and the ship just comes out like a big cocoon, like a butterfly sprouting its wings. Because I guess the hull was just like an armor plating. So the ship flies away, and we see that it's now all nice and shiny without the broken old armor hull. And they fly away. This episode did a fantastic job at setting up the two-part finale, because the pirates are heading to At Aden, they're heading to At Aden, and it's all going to come at a head there. Oh, this series is just really good. It's just amazing. If you have not seen this series, again, I strongly advise you watch it. Anyway, I'm very excited for next week's episode. May the Force be with you, and I look forward to reviewing it for you guys. See ya. Hey everyone, Jedi64 here, and welcome back to another video. And today, we are reaching the end of Star Wars Skeleton Crew. There's only one episode left, so let's see how this episode is. Like, this is basically the two-part finale, so this is going to be a long video. So let's do this. Alright, so episode 7 opens with the parents out in the woods putting together a communication device in hopes of contacting their kids. They're basically breaking the law here, so I don't think they don't really get in trouble, but I don't know. This episode did leave me with more questions than answers, so it's a fantastic episode, but I do wish there was a little bit more answers. So anyway, they finish putting it together, but then the police droids show up saying, "Do not move or we will stun you." So then they all grab the device and then run off, but they all get stunned one by one. Eventually, Firm's mom is able to toss the device up into the air, and it's able to escape the atmosphere. So yeah, we cut back to the kids as they are on their way home, finally. They're all playing together with a ball and, like, just enjoying each other's company, being like, we're finally going home. Like, they're so happy. But Wim is not happy. He is not looking forward to going back to his boring life that he had back on that Aden. And like him, and like how he helped Firmon at Akron, she tries to comfort him, saying that, yeah, no, I'm glad you pressed the button, because he's like, I shouldn't have even pressed this dang button. He's like, no, I'm glad you did. Like, they got to go on, like, an epic adventure. See, I feel like that was a fun moment where they're all like, yeah, this was a fun adventure, and it'll be okay once we get back home. But yeah, Wim is just having a hard time being like, I don't want to go home. It's boring there. Anyway, we cut back to the pirates as they finally reach Aten. They think that no one can get into the planet because it looks like a maelstrom with lightning and all sorts of stuff, but it's just a gas planet. There's these things inside the planet that are making it look like it's like all lightning and all that stuff. So they put him inside the airlock, threatening, basically saying, "Well, we trusted you. Time to throw you out the airlock." But then he's like, "33. How did your captain get into the planet?" And he's like, "Captain Renard said that the planet relied inside an ancient storm." Being like, "Yeah, it's inside the planet." So they send in a ship with one crew member to see if it is safe to go into the planet, which it is not. He gets struck by lightning and dies. Jod gets thrown into the airlock and they're about to toss him out. But then the kids jump out of hyperspace and make it to the planet, where Jod realizes the ship is the key. The ship is the only ship that can get into At-Aten. Because 33 later in the episode mentions that, yes, the ship, that was Captain Renner's genius. He stole one of the Mit's ships so he could enter the planet. So I don't think he stole it from At-Aten. I think he stole it from another planet so that he could armor it up and then enter the planet. Anyway, so the pirates use a tractor beam and they get sucked into the ship. Captain Bruce's goes in saying, "Anyone in there, come out." Only for the kids to use the claw machine to grab him, being like, "Come any closer and we'll kill him." Jod basically is like, "Don't worry, friends," uses the force to take off his handcuffs and then picks up the blaster and shoots Bruce's point blank in the face. It's so brutal and I love it. Get it, Bruce's? I'm joking. Anyway. He then gives a speech saying how he's a better captain than Bruce's ever was, and how he's actually led them to something worthwhile. So the pirates all follow him now. They capture the kids, and he puts back on his helmet from the beginning. And SM-33 and like Jod is like, find out what makes this ship fly in and out of Aten. And SM-33 doesn't just straight up tell him the truth. Because like SM-33 later rebels in the episode, but we'll get to it. So like, I love how we see like glimpses of him like beginning to betray, like beginning to mutiny, as it were. We then see a transmission, like the pirates then pick up the transmission that the parents sent out, basically telling the kids how much they love them and how like they just want them to get home safely, and like they don't just give them the coordinates that add in for safety reasons, which makes me wonder, like, what do they know about the wider galaxy? Do they think it's that dangerous out there? Like, what's going on? Like, this is what I mean. There are some questions that I feel like should have been answered in this episode. Still a fantastic episode, but still. Anyway, they tell him to find a Republic emissary. Where they know secret coordinates to Addon. So does that mean like is that I don't know. So like in the Old Republic, was there like someone that knew the coordinates where they just picked up credits to just ship out to the Republic back in the day, and then all the planets were just wiped out and like because I think the droids have just been on autopilot for years now. And no one on the planet realizes that the supervisor is dead or something. That or the supervisor is Captain Renard. 50-50 really. So the kids try to take back the ship by fighting the adults because Wim is just like, attack. But you know, the kids, so it doesn't really go too far. And Wim is like, we found this ship first. This is ours. And he's like, no, it's mine. Actually, because you're captain of the frigate, this ship remains unattested. So then he's like, I claim the Onyx Cinder. And then Firmus is like, I unclaim these and this ship is for adults only. And he's like, that's not how it works. Oh, he gets punched in the face. It's close enough. And then SM-33 finally turns on the pirates. Because I think he was planning on mutinying later on. Because he actually cares about the kids. Like, he chose the kids over piracy. And I love it. They toss the unconscious pirates out of their ship. Jaw's like, no! He jumps back onto the ship without anybody noticing, and the ship takes off. They launch fighters after the ship, and we get what is visually just so impressive. Like, the CGI in this show is just fantastic. It looks amazing. They're flying through the maelstrom, or the nebula gases, where we see these big satellite dishes shooting lightning from them. And that's where it's revealed that the ship is an Aden ship. which is how it's able to enter and leave the planet safely. The lightning shoots down any pirates because they're not adding ships, so they finally lose the pirates and they make it home to Aten. I love how the treasure in the show was just the planet itself. Like I just love that. So anyway, they get locked into an auto. Dang, what's with me coughing all of a sudden? It's ruining the recording. I'm joking. But anyway, they get locked into an automated landing sequence. But before SM-33 can deactivate it, it's revealed that John made it aboard the ship, and SM-33 goes to stop him, but poor SM-33 gets decapitated with the lightsaber. His head falls to the ground and his body goes limp. I really hope they can fix him, because like he's a droid, they can easily fix him up, but still. If he's dead, I'm going to be very sad. He's my favorite character in the whole show. Anyway, he frightens the kids saying, "Get on the ground! I've run out of patience. If I hear one more word out of any of you, you and all of your parents are dead." Because, yeah, Jod is just, he's not the hero, he is the villain of the series, and I can't wait to see him get his comeuppance. Anyway, the adults are in trouble. The droids bring them in, being like, "You've been caught harboring," but they don't get arrested. The droids just, like, walk away saying something that I don't really understand. And like, Wim's dad is like, "What was that?" It's like, they're just like, "You droids don't listen," which is true. But anyway, we then hear the supervisor over the comms saying that, like, a ship is coming to pick up a shipment of credits, and for all work to be halted until they depart. And I think the supervisor is dead, and that's just a pre-recording of the supervisor. Like, I don't know. He could either be Captain SM-33's old captain, or he's dead and the droids have just been on autopilot for years. It's 50-50. Anyway, the ship approaches the planet. They approach like a park or something, but the ground opens up, revealing a landing pad, which is cool because it shows that how much like the planet's changed. Like there's grass over this. Like this whole area must have been like a landing platform back in the day. But now that the planet's been made dormant, it was turned into a park. So the landing platform opens up, the ship lands, and it descends into the surface below. Jod friends the kids with his lightsaber again, and they continue their descent into the planet. The droids say, "These kids have been reported missing. I shall alert their parents at once." And Jod is like, "I need to make contact with my other ship," because he's trying to contact the pirates to let them know that, yeah, there's treasure down here, because if the pirates don't hear from them, they're just going to leave. Be like, "Well, I guess our captain's dead. What now?" Yeah. They, as they descend, they see their, like their operation of them just making the credits. And I love how the droid is like, "We would hope it would please you." Kind of like how Nala say, and like, kind of like mirrors like Attack of the Clones, being like, "Glad you enjoy it." So yeah, it's really cool. It's very visually impressive. Like, I love the droid design in this show. Like, it's really cool. He's like, "I need to make contact with my ship. No outside contact without the berries permitted. You would have to speak to the supervisor." And he's like, yes, let me speak to the supervisor. Better than a droid." So I think in the next episode we'll finally find out the secret of who the supervisor is, if he even exists anymore. So anyway, they finally make it to the vault, which apparently there's 1,037 vaults on the planet, which means this really is a treasure planet. Because look at this vault, my God! And this isn't even like, think about it. Like, these credits are worth thousands in like the regular galaxy. So this planet is just like full of riches. Like if this planet was to ever get discovered, like all hell would break loose just to get all the loot. Like they need to contact the Republic, open up communications again, then just have all these credits just melted down, turned into regular credits. So anyway, Jod is like, "Oh my God, we finally made it." And like I love how he like basically looks like he's about to cry, and then like he just starts to lose his mind laughing. This is what I mean. He is the villain of the series. I just love it. Oh, it's so cool. The parents arrive at the bottom layer on like a speeder, and we finally get the reunion of the kids with their parents. They hug. It's a very emotional, beautiful scene. I love it. But then, Jod friends them with a lightsaber at the end. parents don't know what's going on. They're like, "Wait, who is this guy?" And like the episode ends with Jod walking towards them with the lightsaber. I think Jod is going to try to kill him, but I think the droids will try to stop him, and then they'll either take the speeder or the ship and try to escape and alert the supervisor of this incident. But all things considered, this was a fantastic episode. The CGI is the best it has ever been in like almost any Star Wars show. Like better than The Mandalorian, like better than The Acolyte, better than anything. Like it's so good. So yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I cannot wait for the series finale next week. I'm super excited to see how the story plays out and see how it all wraps up. Because there's a lot to wrap up. But the Obi-Wan series, the Book of Boba Fett, like, they had a lot to wrap up. They were able to do it very good in, like, one episode. So I'm hoping the next episode is a long one, like 50 minutes to an hour. That'd be really cool. But anyway, this was a fun episode. I enjoyed talking about it, and I hope to see you all in the next video. May the Force be with you, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye. Hey everyone, Jedi64 here, and welcome back to the finale of Star Wars Skeleton Crew. Man, this series was just fantastic. Like, I'm sad that it's over, but man, was this good. Alright, this episode takes place all at nighttime, so bump that brightness up, baby. Oh, let's begin. Alright, so the episode picks off right where the last one ended, and Jod is holding out the lightsaber, but he's not threatening them. He's pretending to be the emissary and like a Jedi, tricking the parents into thinking that, and the kids are too scared to bring anything up, and like he like basically says, yes, the kids are in trouble. I want these droids to have them under constant surveillance until I leave. And the parents just go along with it, thinking that he has some like high authority. Firm says something, being like, yes, we were just too much trouble, being all sly about it, and then like he's like, you know what, how about you two come with me to meet the supervisor as like hostages, like. So they had to go meet the supervisor. We cut back to Wim and his dad, his dad is just trying to bond with his son now that he's back, and poor Wim just doesn't know how to like function with all that's happening. His dad is like, "Well, now that you're back, we can help set up that assessment test." And Wim's like, "Really? That's, ugh." I feel Wim's pain. I really do. His dad is like, You think I never wanted to go up in the ship and meet a Jedi or something? Like, and he's like, and Wim's like, he's not even a Jedi. And he's like, there are people out there who want to destroy this place. And Dad's like, well, that's what the supervisor's for. Like, they're just not communicating well. We cut back to Firm and her mom and Jod, who are heading up the elevator. Firm's mom has met the supervisor before, and like saying like, hey, to meet him at such a young age is a huge honor. So they enter the room, and Jod asks, is it abandoned? Because like everything's covered in dust and it's all dark. And we finally get to meet the supervisor, who is a droid who's been like managing everything. And Vern's mom is like, yes, as decreed by the great work. And Jod goes along with it. He's like, all right then. My name is John Nanalwood. I am Jedi Knight and emissary for the Republic. I need my ship to land. And the droid's like, yes, your ship can land, as long as you can clear up one thing. The last message from the Republic dictated that all Jedi were traitors. So what are you lying about? So the droids come out. So Firm is like, he's a pirate wanting to steal the mint. So all the droids come out to arrest him, and then he turns on his lightsaber, deflects the stun blast, and then kills the supervisor, effectively shutting down the power to the whole planet and shutting off all the droids, basically making the planet completely defenseless. All the power shuts off. Wim and all the other kids see that the droids are powered off. Jod tells Firm's mom, why am I always coughing during these recordings? Anyway, Jod threatens Firm's mom to tell him how to shut off the barrier, because he reveals a lever that can destroy the barrier, but Firm's mom is like, no, you can't. That's the key to our survival. So Jod threatens her daughter with a lightsaber, and she has to comply. So they shut off the barrier. He orders the pirates to come down to the surface, and the invasion begins. Win tells his father the truth about Jod, and they head outside and see the massive pirate ship just coming down. The pirate ship gets there and it starts opening fire on the city. Everything's going to hell. Buses are exploding. Things are going kaboom. It's crazy. So Wim and his dad try to escape. He tries to turn on the car, but Wim's like, "No, there's no power. It won't work." His friends show up on their speeder bikes because they still work, and they're like, "Hey, listen, if we can steal the ship and head back out of the planet's atmosphere, we can contact Kim's friends for help." Like the X-wings and like the Owl Lady from the previous episodes, because like this episode did a fantastic job of like everything that we had seen throughout the entire series just came together in this episode. Like it was so satisfying to watch. Swim goes against his dad's orders. He grabs the speeder bike and bails. His dad eventually borrows the one bike from that one kid from the first episode and chases after them, being like, "This is ending right now." But then the pirates begin to round up the citizens. Round up the citizens, all of them. Yeah, so anyway, the pirates see them on their speeder bikes and start to open fire on them, so they dodge and weave through the city streets, and they eventually fly through the neighborhood and dodging fire, and then they head over the ramp into the forest from the first episode. They're, they drive through the forest, and then they come across the same ravine where the Onyx Cinder was. They fly over and they land, and the dad's all excited. He's like, "Whoa, that was awesome!" So that was really funny. The chase continues. The pirates chase them towards the school. The kids enter. There's a big chase. Neil's speeder bike gets destroyed and he falls off. He's like, "I'm okay, just keep going." So they do, and he's like, "That ship's gonna need cover." So he heads for the giant cannon that's hidden on top of the school, just like on that one warrior planet, or at Akron. They make it to the ship, they get on board, but the docking clamps are still locked, so Wim's dad realizes that they have to head to the supervisor's tower to unlock them. And his dad is like totally on board now. He's like, "Yeah, no, this is cool." And Wim just has the biggest smile on his face, and I love it. Firm tries to convince her mom that maybe it's okay that they can fight back. But Jod is all like, "Hey, no scheming." And he makes an announcement to the people that he is now their ruler. Wim and his dad dodge and weave the pirates through a canal. It was so cool seeing like a speeder on water. Like that is something I've always wanted to see. Like a speeder just on top of water. Like that just sounds so cool. And I don't know, has that ever happened before where we see a speeder on water before? I don't know. Anyway, they dodge and weave fire and they make it to the tower. Jod points a blaster at Wim, and Wim like lies, makes up a story about how he called the X-wings, and Jod calls him out on it, but Firm backs him up, distracting him long enough for his father to press the button to allow the docking clamps to escape. So KB grabs the ship and bails. She flies it out of the atmosphere with the help of dang it, I always SM-33. Yes, I love how he's like, "Holding me head steady, girl." Yeah, like like every Star Wars show or TV show needs a good droid, and they absolutely nailed it with SM-33. Like they knocked it out of the park. Neil uses the giant cannon to distract the pirates before he has to bail as they blow it up. KB makes it out of the planet and calls Kim for help, and she sends the X-wings, but not before she gets hit and begins to go down. She's able to make a pretty smooth crash landing, all things considered, in my opinion. She crash lands, but the kids are all worried that she's dead. And Jod is like, "No one's coming to help you. Your friends will never make it past the barrier." So they realize they have to destroy it, but Firm's mom stops her from doing it because she doesn't want like the rest of the galaxy to find that Adnan. All of the parents try to stop Jod, but he uses the Force, pushes Wim's dad aside, and he Wim gets to the lever, but before he can pull it, Jod threatens his dad with a lightsaber. If we finally get the backstory of who this guy is. Apparently he was just a street rat in the sewers, just trying to survive, and then a Jedi found him, tried to train him for a little while, but was eventually hunted down and killed by the Inquisitors. So now he's just I love it because we're seeing what happens when someone doesn't complete their training and just has no like supervision to control their powers. Just this happens. Wim walks away from the lever and Jod starts monologuing, which I love. I just kept thinking of like the Incredibles movie where it's like, "You got me monologuing," and then like Wim's dad punches him in the face, distracting him. Wim grabs the lightsaber that he dropped, but Jod uses the Force to grab it. So Firm helps him hold it, and then Firm's mom finally helps them pull the lever down to destroy the barrier. The barrier shuts off, and Wim finally gets to hold the lightsaber upright, which, God, that was so satisfying to see. I really wished he used the Force in this episode, but honestly, the fact that he got to hold the lightsaber again, which was what I had wanted so badly in this finale, like for the whole finale, I'm like, oh, please pick up the lightsaber. So it was tremendously satisfying. Jod puts down the blaster. I don't know why he puts down the blaster. I think he puts it down just because like he knows he's defeated because the X-wings are coming. So what's the point? The barrier shuts off because it's like a giant illusion. The whole maelstrom, and we see and the citizens of Atan see the night sky for the first time in decades. The X-wings show up and they destroy the pirate vessel. They go pew 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 bang 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 bang. The pirates are forced to retreat and God, I did not know I needed to see this in live action, but we get to see the B-Wings do their little, like, mini Death Star lasers from Star Wars Rebels in live action. Holy crap, I did not realize I wanted to see this so badly. Like, look at this. It looks so cool. Oh, Jod stares out the window as he sees the ship plummet to the ground. And this is where things get interesting. We don't actually see what happens to Jod. So Jod could, theoretically, he's either going to A, escape aboard a ship, or B, get captured by the New Republic or get arrested, or C, escape and be like a character in the Mandalorian movie. Because I don't think we've seen the last of Jude Law's character because he killed it in this show. Like, oh, fantastic job, just absolutely beautiful. So yeah, his story is left open ended, which I really like, honestly. The kids head to the school where we see that's where the Onyx Cinder crashed. The ramp opens and we see all the credits fall out with KB sliding down the ramp. Of course, KB's fine. I mean, come on, it's a kids show. You think they're gonna kill off a child? But yeah, SM-33 is like, well, that's one of my better landings. Like, I'm glad he's okay. Like, I'm glad they didn't kill him off. Like, I love that. Oh, I love it. So the show ends with Neil looking up at the night sky as he sees like the New Republic ship approaching. I really want a season two, but all things considered, if we don't get a season two, I'd be very satisfied. But for season two, I would love to have like Leia come off of the ship and like her take Wim to Luke to be trained as a Jedi. Like I feel like that'd be a really cool story. Like I don't know, there's just more I want to know from Wim's character. Like I just want to see these characters more because man, this show was fantastic. Oh, and then we get like some really fun credits with like the story that Wim was reading from the beginning. And yeah, that's the series. All 8 episodes, baby. This series was created by Christopher Ford and John Watts. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But man, those guys killed it. Like they wrote it, they directed it, like they killed it, man. Like this series was just fantastic, start to finish. Like I can't wait to rewatch it. Like oh, I'm gonna rewatch it and like I don't know, this series was just really good. So yeah, I've had like an absolute blast reviewing this series and like I'm really excited for Andor season 2 just so I can make reviews of it because I love making reviews for you guys to watch. So oh yeah, well, hey, I hope you guys enjoyed my Skeleton Crew reviews and I will see you all in the next video. But first things first, if you have not seen this series, I highly recommend you watch it. If I had to rate this series, I would give it a 10 out of 10. This series was honestly perfect in my opinion. One of the best series they've ever made. Like maybe better than The Mandalorian, I'm just saying. Anyway, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. May the Force be with you, and bye-bye.